Good day everyone. Today we will discuss about the basics of argumentation. The ordinary expectation of an argument is an action that involves strong words and possibly matched with violent acts. However, this appreciation cannot be farther from the truth. In fact, a well-reasoned argument is not based on violence at all, but one that is based on logic and evidence. But before we go further to our discussion about the basics of argumentation, let's have first define what is assertive, assumption, argumentation, and fallacies. Assertive is confident statements and behavior, while assumption is assuming that something is true. Fallacies means false or mistaken idea, while argumentation is the act or process of forming reasons. An argument is composed of three features: assumption, evidence, and explanation. If any of the three features are missing, these are not considered arguments. In the case of assumptions without evidence, these are merely opinions. In the case of evidence without assertions, these are simply bald facts that need further contextualization. Unfortunately, most people believe that if you have one of these features, one can create a compelling argument. One must know what an assumption is. If we will go back to our definition earlier, assumption means assuming that something is true. An assumption is an opinion that needs evidence to back it up. Hence, saying that the world is round is not an assumption. It is a fact. It is an opinion that asks for evidence because it has already been proven and is considered to be true by all accounts. However, the opinion that women should be given the right to an abortion is an assertion that needs facts to support it. Evidence can be any of the following: concrete facts and figures, a philosophical ideology agreed upon to be true by everyone, and anecdotal evidence. The strongest bodies of evidence are based on facts and figures, and it is important that they are true and come from reliable sources. One cannot expect to get facts from the memes, dodgy vlogs, and fake news sources. It is best to get facts from newspapers and academic journals or their digital counterparts. The weakest among the three would be anecdotal evidence, as this can be an exaggeration of the speaker or even an outright lie. Now we are down to our third basic of argumentation, which is an explanation. An explanation tells the audience why the evidence supports the assumption. It should be clear and concise, and the relationship between the evidence and the assumption must not commit any logical fallacies. For example, when it comes to the earlier assumption that all states should observe human rights for its citizens, the fact that it is enshrined in the United Nations Commissions for Human Rights might not be enough for some people. Therefore, in order to be more persuasive, one must explain where this came from, that it was a post-World War II measure to ensure that the evils of the Nazi Holocaust would not be repeated in the world. A stronger explanation would go to the premises of the argument and analyze this point by point in order to make the audience fully understand the argument. In the end, an argument's persuasive power is not found solely on the logical grounds. It is important to remember that one is trying to convince human beings with emotions and not cold, unfeeling robots, which is why it is always best to add the persuasive powers of pathos and ethos in an argument, aside from those that stem from logos. I hope that this discussion enlightened you about the basics of argumentation. Now, for your task, what do you think of divorce should be legalized in the Philippines? Is it assertion, assumption, argumentation, or fallacies? And why? Write your answers in the comment section.